Why, Marvel? You had one job and one job only, was to hold Loki in the frame that we all know him. I am so disappointed with the first episode of Loki. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure it's gonna break records. Everyone was anticipating this show, was on pins and needles to finally see Loki in his own show after a month of not having any Marvel content. And I'm sure it's gonna rise all the way up to #1 in streaming. I know people have been streaming it over and over. But honestly, this was the worst I've seen yet out of this phase 4, if you want to call it. These first 3 shows, being WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and now Loki. Loki, by far, first episode, as far as that what we were presented as, has to be the worst. They made Loki look dumb, weak, like a buffoon, like he didn't know anything of his magic, of why he's the god of mischief. He just seemed like an alternate version of Loki. And before you get like, oh no shit, he's a variant, it doesn't matter. From the point where he grabs the Tesseract and he disappears from Avengers Endgame so let's go back to the current date, which is 2012. He still went through the events of Thor 1. He still went through the events of the Avengers. After that, it's argued that his arc wasn't all that heavy. It was a little bit more, it was explored more in Thor Ragnarok, and obviously his death in Infinity War. So there's not much different. Yes, he didn't get to see his mom's dying, and though that part, Tom, he's a great actor, and he brought his charisma to certain scenes, but how they decided to turn one of the most popular villains, anti-villains, anti-heroes, whatever you want to describe Loki as, they made him look so helpless. And this first episode goes way out of its way to basically negate everything from the Infinity Saga. Oh, Infinity Stones are paperweight? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, the Tesseract doesn't mean anything. Oh, it can't be used here because we're the time variant. And I'm gonna devote a video just on this, so I'm not gonna try to get into too much detail over this whole time issue. But there is a huge problem with what they're trying to describe the time variance as. Like this never all controlling, all powerful. Then what the fuck are the Eternals? It negates the movies moving forward and the movies that have been before. So this whole episode felt like a clusterfuck. I get it, the idea that they were trying to go after, but let me tell you, it failed. It failed by a long shot. Now, again, I am a huge MCU fan. I'm a Loki fan, and I was excited. I'm not going to just turn it off and not watch it. I'm going to continue watching this series. I want to see where they take this. And hopefully they redeem themselves. And through some of the promos that we've been given, it seems he's going to be a badass. I was so disappointed in the whole, DC Cooper part, where it was Thor and Loki's joke, and Heimdall was in on it too, and it was like a dare. Are you fucking kidding me, yo? And I get it, it's probably played for laughs, like, haha, you shouldn't take it so seriously. Oh, look, the god of mischief, that's not being the god of mischief. That's, if you don't know the story of DC Cooper, you could go back and check it out yourself. They played that for cheap tricks, and I like Owen Wilson's role. I like the way the acting was fine. I think the writing for this first episode, and I'm hoping it's not setting the stage for what's to come, and we're going to get some of this convoluted, nonsensical script that these great actors that are doing a great job are going to have to act their ass off just to try to pull it off. But from the first minute of this show, I was like, why did they couldn't de-age Tom a little bit. He looks so much older from a version of 2012 to now. His hair was shorter, nothing matched, yet you're trying to make me separate and go into this fantasy world and be like, oh yeah, look, this is a continuing, but it doesn't. You could have gradually aged him a little bit, at least made it put in a little bit more effort. Now maybe I'm beating a dead horse because maybe they don't got the revenue as for a TV show, but being one of your main characters that has been there almost just as long as Robert Downey Jr. and has been the most popular villain of any except for Thanos that came up, and maybe Hela, because Hela was pretty dope. But for sure Thanos, and Loki's probably a close second from that, and Hela maybe 2B or a third, or maybe change Loki and Hela back and forth. And you're going to do him like this? You're not gonna spend that extra money to make his outfit match from what the fuck you try to show us? And this whole episode was a nostalgia trip. Oh, look at everything from the Infinity Saga. And still you're showing us everything from the Infinity Saga, and then you're shitting on the Infinity Saga in the same breath. Like, what are you doing? What are you guys doing? You guys are destroying something so beautiful by trying to shit on it. Now that you've made your billions and have your fan base, knowing that we're gonna watch, you're gonna treat us like this and just kind of throw us off to the side and give us some fucking dumbass story, at least the beginning. So I'm hoping that it turns around. I said in my WandaVision reviews that I gave Kevin Feige, I'm like, go be more, take risks. We should trust in Kevin Feige. But now you're 1 for 2. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier was so, and you're starting off with this one bad. So if you're not careful, Marvel's fans will turn on the product, because you can't shit on something that made us fall in love with what you it's like making fun of our girlfriends or boyfriends that we fall in love with, and we're gonna fucking hate you for that. So I don't know what Marvel Studios and Disney Studios or Kevin Feige's thinking. I don't know who the writers are, but I know it's too late to rewrite everything, but I'm hoping that it's just this first season. I was highly disappointed, but for me, this first episode was, I don't want to call it trash, but it was bad. It was really, really bad. So anyways, those are just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And like always, that's a wrap.